Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my round 5 recap video in which we are going to analyze today again a Hikaru game. Today on the menu is his game against the former challenger Jan Nepomniachtchi, a very exciting game indeed, which actually featured, to almost everyone's surprise, including the commentators, at least the ones I watched, which included Magnus Carlsen, by the way, and Judith Polgar and Jan Gustafsson. So it featured a Petrov, which basically is today's way to say, other than the Berlin, that I would like to play a draw. And I mean, it's of course a common strategy for all players really with the black pieces, but Nepo hasn't been known to employ this opening too much, and in my opinion his lack of experience, at least on top level, actually showed in the game. So we are headed for a main line Petrov that has been played a myriad of times. Karpov and then Kramnik honed it to perfection for black as their main drawing weapon, and Kasparov was the guy on the white side who scored some notable victories with it. Now, because of Hikaru suspected some sort of prep, he decided to employ here a lesser played move, which is in this particular position, Rook A2. I quite like this move, by the way. It's a really clever way to deploy the rook. On the second rank, it can slide into the fray at any given point, and it can also go to B2 to cause damage on the B file, which of course was not doable from B1. And quickly things escalated after takes, C4, Queen E4, Bishop F1, Queen G4 was played very rapidly, in fact, by Nepo, and all of a sudden, from what appeared to be quite a playable position for black, although I have to add that it was playable by the very curious Queen B1, when after Rook takes, Rook B2, black actually has to hide the Queen on A1, which feels a little bit, iffy, but the white pieces are not coordinated well enough to trap the Queen. I will show you such variations later on. And after Rook B7, Bishop E4, it appears that black drums up enough counterplay and then munches the pawn on A3, although even this position appears to be slightly better for white. There is a curious line here with knight D2, take, and after rook takes D5, we regain the piece because the knight has to stay on C6 to guard the D8 square. I think this would fizzle out into a draw without too many dramas after rook E7. But yeah, Nepo actually just went after bishop F1 insta Queen G4. Well, I mean, he spent a minute on it, which by his standards you can argue is a lot or a little. But notably, if you look at the time consumption here, Hikaru is down to half of his time. Nepo has lost 3 minutes only. And now things get out of hand real quick for black. H3, Rook E1. The first thing to note that here Queen H5 loses to G4. So that's just all over because of the fork. Whereas Queen G6 allows the super nasty D5 take. And after knight E7, G4 with the idea of knight H4 again, excuse me, is quite filthy. And Hikaru actually showed a very entertaining line here too. In his video, he calculated knight A5, which loses to the puzzle rush style double attack on the two unguarded pieces. Loose pieces drop off. I suppose John Nunn got it right for sure. So none of these are playable. Take has to be played. Take Queen E4. And after Rook E2, now the Queen has to go on a very awkward journey. And the black pieces will lack coordination really badly. Queen D3, Rook B2. A very clever way to repeat moves. I didn't quite understand why Naka did it until he actually explained in his recap video that he wanted to actually gain some moves on the score sheet because you have to make it to 40 without any increment. And so the repetition meant that now he managed to add 2 extra moves to the score sheet, so to speak. And only now did he pull off Rook E3, Queen B1. And this was the decisive moment in the game after D5, Knight E7, when Hikaru felt that he had a very good position with knight d4, but then he started looking for something even better, and he thought that he could gain even more moves on the score sheet by playing knight d2, queen a1, knight b3, queen b1, and then knight d4, which is quite clever, but usually these tricks tend to backfire on you, and that's exactly what happened, because after knight d2, queen a1, knight b3, he just tragically overlooked that the queen could go back home to f6, after which, by the way, the position is still in white's favor with bishop d2. I will get to that, but I will first show you the beautiful variations that justify knight d4. So now, if queen a1, we get to take, and then, no we don't. Why did I have this line here? No, I want this one. We play queen d2, actually, and the idea is to activate the bishop via b2, and unlike in that other variation I showed you, here the queen on a1 is majorly struggling, really badly, and there are multiple motives that are based on the idea of trapping it, like here on the queen on a2, oh boy, look at this, rook e7, bishop e7, knight f5, all kinds of tactics. Black is falling apart here, really amazing play. So queen a1 is not playable. I did try to make queen b6 work, which is slightly better. Queen d2, and again the idea is that the bishop is going to come to b2 and white is clearly better. I looked at a pass move to demonstrate the idea of what's threatened. Right now white is immediately winning with knight f5, bishop d3. So there is that too. So black has to be conscious of that. And if we try to dodge that bullet with bishop here, then comes rook b3, queen a1, knight b5, and this is actually the motive that Hikaru showed in his video too, although his line went a little bit differently, because here after c6, knight c3 takes, he actually reckoned, I think, with some kind of a retake, which is best, but queen d2 and takes and bishop b2, no, sorry, rook b7 first, and then bishop b2 wins immediately. Bishop b2 is too greedy, because then queen f1 and black gets to sack the queen in an optimal way. But if we move the rook away anywhere, bishop b2 is gonna trap the queen next against pretty much everything except for bishop d3. When you take, and here comes the rook b1 move. I was looking for the not Zwischenzug. What do you call it in problem composition when you go back? It's a German word. I forgot. Anyway, it will come to me later on. So yeah, you go to and fro, and the queen is trapped, and that was basically it. So yeah, knight d4 was the big opportunity for Hikaru to score a game. And this, by the way, shows you how immensely well contested this tournament is, and how little separates the winner from someone who might come fifth. And I'm not saying that, you know, Hikaru is not gonna win, or Nepo is this or that. All I'm saying is that half a points are lost in this tournament on the smallest details, and you actually have to play as close to perfect chess as possible in order to win games, unless of course your opponent makes a tremendous mistake, but that is extremely unlikely. And the mental factor plays a huge role here too, because unfortunately here Hikaru completely collapsed mentally. You could see his body language was just, yeah, really disappointed, and he really hated himself. But to be fair, after bishop d2, knight g6, g3 is an idea that would have kept the ball going, because now after bishop c3, followed by h4, h5, h6, white does have a lot of pressure in this position. So yeah, this would still have been a fascinating game. Instead, however, Hikaru allowed a move repetition draw here with bishop c3, bishop b4, which is exactly what happened in the other three games too. Mind you, the Fabiano Caruana Richard Rapport game was absolutely mental as well, so I highly recommend you to check that one out too. It was an insanely well contested game, and I'm super excited to see what round 6 will hold. I have to say that my enthusiasm, not only did it not drop, but it just keeps on increasing with every day. Not so much because I'm curious about who is going to challenge the world champion, but because we have got so many fantastically entertaining games compared to what was expected from a tournament where there are only 4 games to be watched every day and draw in every single time is the expected result. But people, and I would like to stress this, tend to be occasionally a little bit too lazy to compare different draws, because some draws are just boring and lame and some draws are just insanely rich, wealth of ideas displayed. And if you actually scratch the surface a little bit, like in this game, you find so much in these games to take away from. It is just next level. Anyway, that was my recap for round 5. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to sub, to like, to comment, or super like, even if you can afford to, or if you would like to. I would like to thank you for watching, and I will be back with a new video tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.